God is good. Today, guys, I want to talk about a game that I've actually been following for a while now, that I actually consider myself to be friends with a lot of the developers of this game, but it's a game I didn't want to talk about. For one thing, I'm under an NDA, but I did actually get some permission to talk about some information about this game. I want to get this out there to you because I think there's a lot of Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen fans, or Camelot Unchained fans who would really dig this kind of concept. So what is Defend the Night? That's the MMORPG I want to talk about today. This is a game that is a very dark fantasy, for one thing, okay? It's going for that challenging thing that makes us all want to play Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. It's that classic gameplay that makes you scared and worried and trying to do your best at all times and what's around that corner and the dangers that persist in the world, but it's very different than the kind of dangers and sort of the same as the ones that we find in Pantheon, but there's a different focus on this game, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. Now, player progression as far as how you level up is back to the classic. So you progress through your leveling, your abilities, getting talents, and here's where it differentiates itself by player-owned city development. So players go out into this world, they can go solo, it's just going to be super dangerous for you, or you can grab up a group of friends, which is highly recommended, and you level up through all kinds of options, whether that be through PvE or PvP, because in this game, you could literally play this game by building with your guild, building a player city, and then defending it against all the PvP happening in the world. That could be how you level up and play the entire game if you choose. I do think, though, from what I understand, that you're going to need to also get out and do some PvE to help you with the player development and building that city and expanding it, etc. This game is super sandbox style, and a lot of that feeling is going to come from their building systems. So as a player, you'll be able to form a homestead, which you can actually progress into a town, and then even into a full city with enough work cooperation. So players can just join a community, right, that is already started and become a citizen, or even become a ruler of that city. Set up storefronts, manage and defend the place, and even just turn that city into its own guild, which I think is what a lot of players are going to do. And then that city can set up its own diplomacy and factions specific to their own city. And this opened up my mind into the defense of the cities and things like that. So there is a tower defense events that they're talking about, which is basically just progression game modes, which are like a survival PvP tower defense type system. And from what I understand, each round enemies charge at the keep, and you need to purchase and assist friendly defender units to outlast the encounter. But in PvP, your opponent will also be facing enemy waves, so that's where it gets that PvE-PvP mix, and the last to survive wins. Now, since the game is everything we've been talking about, at least, has been combat focused, I do want to talk a little bit about the combat itself in the game. It is a tab target combat, old school, area selected spellcasting abilities, and of course it does use the tank, healer, DPS, and crowd control. Thank God we got crowd control. Now they said they're focusing on all the spellcasting classes to be very mobile, so not relying solely on sitting for mana regeneration, so they want this to be kind of a quicker paced, okay? But from what I've seen, I don't want you to take that the wrong way. The game is more tactical than, it's more like the classic MMO tactical kind of tab targeting combat, but at the same time, because of the PvP and all those kind of features and defending and all that kind of thing, they're going for a little bit less of the sitting around and waiting for mana regeneration. And as far as progression goes, another interesting thing about this game is it does have talent trees, okay? There's going to be 3 unique talent trees per class, each with a particular focus. So that's going to open up a lot of options as far as the classes go. And as far as the classes, these are some very unique takes on the classes. Now, this game is not trying to make every class be able to do everything. Not to say that the classes will be one-dimensional, but they do fit specific roles and abilities, and they're meant to be their class. Now, we talked a lot about the PvP, but I do want to say that the PvE is looking to be very fleshed out, as it is going to have boss encounters and end-game raid events. And of course there will be dungeons and all the things you would expect from a classic MMORPG. Now, in future videos, I'm going to talk a little bit about the classes and a little bit of information about those, and I feel pretty confident that I can even score an interview with one of their lead developers, and we can actually get a lot of questions. So I highly recommend, if this is your first time hearing about it, or even if it's not, if you have a question you would like me to ask the developers, leave it in the comments down below, because I do actually know a lot of these guys, as a lot of these guys are very also heavily into the Pantheon Rise of the Fallen community. So leave your questions down below, and I would definitely get those to the developer, and we will actually do an interview. He hasn't actually agreed to that yet, but I believe that we could nail down a day and a time where he's not too busy, and we could probably do a really good interview. So if you have any questions you want me to ask during that time, then please leave them in the comments down below, and I'll get those to him. Now, if you want to check out more information about Defend the Night, they have a great website. I'm going to have it in the description down below, but it's defendthenightgame.com, and a lot of the information we talked about here is there, along with a lot of other information that I didn't cover in this video, because I mainly just wanted this to be more of an introduction as to what this game is, what its basic philosophies are, and what they're trying to build here. And I also gotta say, for anybody who played Shadowbane back in the day, I'm getting a very strong Shadowbane kind of feel from this game. Definitely has to be one of the inspirations for development of this game. Of course, Shadowbane was super PvE. This game's going to have a lot of PvE elements in it as well, so that kind of makes it a little bit different. What do you guys think about the game? Leave your comments down below, and like I said, if you have any questions you'd like to see answered in a future interview, leave those in the comments down below, as that's where I'll be pulling community questions from. Hope you enjoyed the video today, and until next time, guys, God bless and happy gaming. Listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. My friends all say I'm it's a video buffet. You can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but just please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.